What's going on, guys? Let me know if you could hear me or not. I'm assuming you guys can hear me and see me. What's going on, guys? Let me know if you could hear me or not. I'm assuming you guys can hear me. So how's everybody doing tonight? Looks like you guys can hear me. What's up, Hudson Valley Prepping and Survival? Just like old times. Yep, that's right. Just like old times. I wish you were here right now hanging out. What's up, Raven, Joe Romanino? What's going on, Joe? Traveler in Time, what's going on, Traveler in Time? Traveler in Time says I need 3 gallons of gas. I don't think so. You just got to be patient, that's all. Leandra says, hi, Greg, awesome spot you're at. Peaceful and relaxing. Thank you guys for coming in tonight. Sorry it took a little while to get the fire going. It's a beautiful night tonight here in central Pennsylvania, north central Pennsylvania. Temps are supposed to go down into the upper 40s tonight. So it's nice and cool. It feels like fall already. What's up, John, the home repair specialist? Yeah, you know what it is with the fire? I have this little fire pit here, and with the fire pits, it doesn't get a lot of airflow. So it's a little bit hard to get it burning. And yeah, the wood was outside yesterday, and it got a little bit soaked from Hurricane Ida. So, but this is just a new thing I'm trying out here. I'm going to start doing these fireside chats. I think it's kind of a fun thing to do. Curvetta says Kentucky here. What's up, Curvetta? What's up, KY Survival 76? Deanna Walters says hello from the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. What's going on? I'd love to go to the Upper Peninsula someday. I've never been there, but I'd love to go there. But I just saw some kind of weird object in the sky over here. I don't know what it was, if it was a satellite or not, but some kind of bright object that went across the sky. It wasn't a plane. Hudson Valley says audio is good. That's good. What's up, WD Glock and Roll? How's it going, man? I have to check your channel out. It's been a while. For some reason when I search your name, WD Glock and Roll, I can never find it on the search bar. The smoke keeps the bugs away. It definitely does. It's getting cooler outside, which is good because there's been a lot of bugs over here, What's up, Tyler Wood? How's it going, Tyler Wood? Are you still doing videos? Or did you said you gave up on videos? Hudson Valley says it's beautiful in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. I've got family there. Yeah, I remember you told me that. Yeah, it is beautiful. It's very secluded. The Yup or Upper Peninsula is one of the best bug out locations in the whole country, in my opinion, at least. I think it's one of the best bug out locations in the whole country. Um, just got to blow on this fire a little bit. Tyler Wood says you've been busy with work. Youpers are tough as nails. I'm sure they are. They get a lot of snow. They get a lot of snow, 200 inches of snow a year in the UP. It's one of the best bug out areas in the country for sure. So, Kilo Juliet says you're from Wappingers Falls. Okay, I know Wappingers Falls very well. I don't live in New York anymore, but I know Wappingers Falls very well. What's up, Rick Silva? Everything's going good for me. So, I guess I'm just going to get started with my live stream. So I think the first thing I want to talk about is the flooding from Hurricane Ida or Ida. I don't know if any of you guys saw my last upload, but there's been some really bad flooding in New York City. They got like several feet of water. All the streets are completely inundated with water. Catastrophic flooding in New York City. I think it's biblical. That's just me. I don't mean to sound negative or anything, but I think it's biblical. So we have to continue to prep. I think that we're living in the end times, in my opinion, and I know a lot of you guys think that I'm fear mongering or that I'm exaggerating, but just look around what's going on around the world, and you could see all the things, all the signs that we're living in the end times. We got Afghanistan, we have chaos in the Middle East, wars and rumors of wars. We have these biblical floods in New York City. I mean, New York City's never had that much flooding ever. I mean, they don't really want to admit it. The forecasters and the media, they don't want to admit it, but there's never been this type of flooding before in New York City ever. And I've lived in New York for 35 years before I moved out a month ago. And I know New York City pretty well. I don't live there, but I've been there a lot. And I've never seen anything like that in my whole life. So, what's going on? Not your puppet. Raven says it's not just you, Greg. It is crazy. Yeah, it's crazy, and does that mean that the world is going to end tomorrow or next month? I have no idea. I don't know what's going to happen, but just look around, If there's ever a time to be a prepper, now's the time to be a prepper. And if there's ever a time to get right with God and, read the Bible and pray every night, now's the time. Hudson Valley Prepping and Survival says almost everyone I talk to has a sense of impending doom right now. The West Coast is on fire. Yep, exactly. You got the wildfires. John, the home repair specialist, says dark times are here. Yeah, I mean, so we got wildfires, but just look at the last 2 weeks alone, all the crazy stuff that's happened. I mean, we've had Afghanistan fall to the Taliban right on the heels of the 20th anniversary of 9/11. I mean, I don't know if that's symbolic, if they did that on purpose, if the politicians in DC purposely allowed Afghanistan to fall to the Taliban right on the 20th anniversary of 9/11. It's almost like a slap in the face to the victims of 9/11 and all the veterans that sacrificed their life and limb. But you know what? I think that we got some really hard times coming, guys, in this country and in this world. I think that what we're witnessing now is honestly just the beginning stages of a downward progression. I think everything that's happened in the last year is just the beginning stages, and it's just going to get worse and worse. So we have to make sure that we're prepared. I mean, it's just super important to be prepared right now. Make sure you have enough food. Make sure you have enough water. Make sure you have access to water. Look up on a map to see where your local streams are and creeks so you can refill your water supply after a grid down situation. You should have at least like 2 or 3 sources of water nearby where you can go and replenish your water, and you should be able to walk to those areas if possible. But make sure you have food, water, self-defense. You definitely want to make sure you have some way of defending yourself. It doesn't matter if you have all the preps in the world, all the ammo and all the guns. I'm sorry, it doesn't matter if you have all the preps in the world, all the food and water, but if you don't have any guns or ammo or skills and know how to use them, people are just going to come and take all your supplies. So you have to be able to defend your supplies, defend your family. That's super critical, guys. Super critical, okay? You have to be able to defend your family and defend your supplies. It's critical. Hudson Valley Prepping and Survival is asking me, do I feel like this is the beginning of the tribulation? It could be. It could be. Or if it's not the beginning of the tribulation, we're getting close to it. Now, the Bible says that the beginning of the tribulations, it starts with the peace treaty in the Middle East. There's a covenant with many, which comes from Daniel chapter 9. And that's the peace treaty that the Antichrist and the enemies of Israel sign with Israel. Hang on, guys, 1 sec. Just got to get out of the smoke. The wind is blowing the smoke towards me. So I mean, I think that if we're not at the beginning stages of the tribulation, we're getting close to it. Arkansas Living says, I agree with that. What's up, Arkansas Living? Great channel, by the way. If you guys are looking for a good prepping channel, check out Arkansas Living. Also, check out Hudson Valley Prepping and Survival. Thanks to all my moderators for being here tonight. Raven, Joe Romanino, Hudson Valley Prepping. Thank you guys for coming in. Um, so, just look around you guys. Just look around you. See what's going on around the world. We have this biblical flooding in New York City. I mean, several feet of water. I recommend you guys check out my last video that I just uploaded. I showed a lot of the videos that I found on Twitter and on the internet of all the flooding in New York City. I mean, it's just absolutely biblical. And like I said, I lived in the New York area for 35 years and I never saw anything like that my whole life. Even Hurricane Sandy, which is, basically one of probably the top three storms to ever, or the top three most damaging storms to ever hit New York City. Even Hurricane Sandy didn't even come close to Ida. I mean, Ida just completely flooded the subways. Entire streets were just underwater, 4 or 5 feet of water. I mean, come on. Hudson Valley says, thank you for spending the night with us. Yeah, no problem. I enjoy spending the night with you guys. It's fun for me. So, what's up, Rip Curl Readiness? How's it going? Good to see you in here. So, another thing with Ida that we have to pay attention to is gas prices, because a lot of the refineries, there was like a bunch of refineries in Louisiana that got hit by the hurricane. So, that could possibly affect oil prices and gas prices. So we got to keep an eye on that. But I mean, just look at everything going on. We got Ida, we got Afghanistan, we got mandatory vaccines that are spreading across the world now. More and more places, jobs, universities, employers, they're mandating that people take the vaccine. I predicted this a year ago. I predicted that this would happen, that there would be mandatory vaccines. And people said that, that could never happen. There's no way that they could mandate a vaccine. And, well, it's happening, guys. They're mandating it. And, the next step is that they're going to mandate you to have it in order to get a driver's license, in order for you to fly. I mean, just look at what's going on in Australia. It's just these mandatory vaccines are spreading like wildfire now. So, there's a lot of signs that we are entering some difficult times and possibly getting close to the Great Tribulation. I don't know if we're in it yet or not. We still don't have the third temple yet, and we still don't have a peace treaty yet. Now, Trump almost came close to signing a peace treaty with Palestine and Israel. Jared Kushner was working on it. And I don't know what the status of that treaty is. I don't know if any of you guys have any updates for the people in the chat, but last I remember that they were working on it, but I don't remember if they actually signed it. But, peace treaty is on its way. Mideast peace treaty is on its way. Especially now with Afghanistan falling to the Taliban, there's a greater chance that we could see some kind of a peace treaty, because, once the Taliban has control of Afghanistan, the Middle East is going to spiral out of control and into chaos. And that's honestly what I think is going to happen, guys. I think that with the Taliban in control of Afghanistan, we're going to see the Middle East, just become very chaotic. That's my opinion. I think the Mideast is just going to get very chaotic. I've said before that I think the Taliban could get weapons of mass destruction, and I still believe that. I believe that Iran could possibly give the Taliban nuclear weapons, biological weapons, chemical weapons, ballistic missiles, all kinds of stuff. And they could use the Taliban as a proxy, basically. So I still believe that, So we have to be prepared for the possibility of some kind of a nuclear attack, a chemical attack, a biological attack. And that's why now's a great time to think about relocating. If you live in a city, especially New York City, but any big city, you should consider relocating at least to the suburbs, because in the suburbs you can at least evacuate much more easily and bug out if you have to. But if you live in like a downtown urban area, you're pretty much screwed, and the city has full control over your water supply, your heat supply, your trash. You have no property. Living in a city is basically the worst thing for a prepper, or you just in general for quality of life purposes. Human beings were not meant to live in these crowded concrete jungles. We were meant to have fresh air and space and clean water and clean air, and a lot of cities right now struggle with overcrowding, with homelessness, with crime. And after SHTF, it's just going to be 100 times worse. If you go into some areas of New York City or DC, or and pick any big city in the country, you go into some of those cities and it's basically like a third world country in some of those areas. You have people living on the streets, you have crime, and that's just right now during rule of law. When everything is working, when society is functioning. Imagine what those cities are going to be like when there's no power, when there's no more trash pickup, when there's no more gas for heating and cooking being pumped into people's apartments, when there's no more water being pumped into people's faucets. Complete chaos. So you got to think about relocating if you live in a big city. That's my number one recommendation. And if you can't get out into the country, get out into a suburb. Even a suburb is 100 times better. Matt Cullen says, how's living in Tennessee? So I never ended up moving to Tennessee. I did a channel update like a few weeks ago. I'm living in Pennsylvania right now. I'm in north central Pennsylvania. I never ended up going to Tennessee. Joanna says, how are the shelves looking like in everybody's area? Right now, the shelves are pretty good here in my part of the country. It's not too bad, but I did notice that a lot of survival gear and obviously we have the gun and ammo shortage. The ammo shortage is really bad. It's not just ammo; it's also components, hand loading components. For those of you guys that are into hand loading like myself, I like to make my own ammo, and it's hard to find good bullets anymore. A lot of good powders are scarce, so it's a big problem. But now there's also shortages with tactical gear. I went on the internet yesterday and I was looking at some BDUs. I wanted to add some more BDUs to my stockpile, because I like to have a lot of BDUs, because I think BDUs are just a good general purpose clothing for SHTF. And periodically I'll buy an extra pair of BDUs here and there just to build up my stockpile. And I went online the other day and everything was out of stock. You could find some BDUs, but not certain camo patterns are out of stock and certain colors are out of stock. And so, there's just a big shortage in tactical gear right now too, because people are panic buying all the tactical gear. A-Rod says de Blasio was considering running for governor. I heard about that. I heard about that. So, see you later, Hudson Valley. Good to see you here tonight. Thanks for stopping by. I'll talk to you later, man. Have a good night. Sean Doe, what's up, Sean Doe? Sean Doe. Um, good night, Joanna B. So we got a lot of stuff going on, guys, in this world. Um, I personally I want to talk about Afghanistan and really focus on Afghanistan because I really concerned about that. I think that we're going to see the Middle East spiral into chaos pretty soon. Once the Taliban has full control, I think they handed over full control to the Taliban already on the 31st of August. Just a few days ago, just 3 days ago, the Taliban already has full control over Afghanistan. I mean, that's just a nightmare scenario, guys. And not only do they have full control, but they also have a lot of our equipment that we left behind. They have our Hummers, they have our Blackhawks, they have a lot of equipment that we left behind. And not only that, but now they have friendly neighbors. They have Iran. They have all kinds of people that are willing to help them out and give them weapons and so forth. So I really think that the Middle East is going to descend into chaos pretty soon. What's up, Lee Billy? How's it going? I think the Mideast is going to descend into chaos soon. And, you really need to be prepared, guys. Really need to be prepared. The Watchman says you have to have the foresight of God to get around this. Most people did not have this and went right for the jab. Um, Inflation still rising. Yep, that's right. Bank crash coming. Yeah, and the banks, the financial markets, it's all just a scam. If you guys really believe that the stock market is organic and that it really fluctuates up and down based on what's happening with the economy, I mean it's the stock market is 100% manipulated by the hedge funds, by the banks. Goldman Sachs is part of the Illuminati. Um, and so all the big banks in the world are part of the Illuminati, and they control the stock market. It's all engineered, and it's all one big illusion. It's a scam to get you to put your money into it, and to enrich the 1% from your money through 401ks and through your investments. It's just one big scam, and it's a house of cards that's going to collapse pretty soon. Um, they may not let it collapse though, but they dump money into the market to always make it seem like the market is going up. But it's one big scam, and it's eventually going to collapse at some point. The thing is that the economy never recovered from 2010. The economy just never fully recovered from, or I'm sorry, 2008 when the housing market collapsed. The economy never fully recovered from that, because we had all those years of Obama, and he didn't really do anything for the economy. And then Trump took over. Trump was a little bit better, but there's only so much that you can do in 4 years, after 8 years of neglect. And then, under Bush, even the economy was struggling. Um, it's our economy is still, not good. And all it's going to take now is for a war in the Middle East to erupt. If Afghanistan attacks Israel, or they attack Saudi Arabia, or they start doing terrorist attacks in the Western countries, in Europe and different places, things are just going to spiral out of control. The economy is going to crash. And I mean, there's all different kinds of things that could happen, but I'm just really concerned about the Taliban right now having, full control of Afghanistan. And, Iran is just really friendly right now with Russia and China, which doesn't help. We saw Iran attack Saudi Arabia 2 years ago. They launched a drone attack on Saudi Arabia, and they wiped out almost 50% of the oil producing capacity of Saudi Arabia. So, what's going on? Sean Doe says, "What's the best red dot for the AR?" I mean, in my opinion, I think aim point. I would go with an aim point. I personally am not a huge fan of red dots. I know a lot of guys like them, and the military likes them, but I prefer just a regular low power scope or medium power scope. I'm gonna do a video. I I just purchased an AR-10, and I'm mounting a 2 to 10 power scope on it. I'll do a full review of my setup soon, once I get it sighted in. But I personally don't like red dots too much because they limit you to close distances. Even if you have like a 2 MOA red dot, which is really small, you're going to be limited to maybe 100 or 200 yards max. And why limit yourself? If you get yourself a scope like a LPVO or a low to medium power scope, you can extend the range of your rifle, to at least 500 yards. With a red dot, unless you plan on only doing CQB work, and you think that all your engagements are going to be under 100 yards, then yeah, red dot's great. But beyond 100 yards, or beyond 200 yards, a red dot is going to be tough, because the dot gets bigger as you go further out. So let's say a 2 MOA red dot at 100 yards, that's a 2-inch size dot. At 200 yards, that's going to be a 4-inch dot. So as you go further out, the dot is going to cover up more of your target, and your accuracy is going to go down. But if you want to have like a dedicated CQB rig, then of course a red dot is good. But I think a LPVO is a much better choice. Something in the 1 to 6 power or 1 to 8 power range. I think that's ideal. Plus, with a scope, the good thing about a scope too is that you're not reliant on electricity for it to work. Because red dots, it's an electronic device, so you need to have a battery in there, and everything has to be working properly. But I would personally go with an aim point. I think an aim point is the best way to go if you're going to go with a red dot, just because I would go aim point or EOTech. Those two are military grade, and they're in use by the military, the U.S. military, and different militaries around the world. They use EOTechs and aim points. If you were to get a red dot, my recommendation is to get a flip to the side magnifier, maybe like a 2 or 3 power magnifier, and I would get a very small dot, like a 2 MOA dot. I wouldn't go with a 4 MOA dot because it's just too big, and it's gonna, unless you plan to just use it for like CQB work, get a very small dot, 1 MOA or 2. I think 2 MOA is the smallest I would go, because then it's really hard to see at close range. But EOTechs are good too. EOTech's a good option as well. The EOTech doesn't have as good battery life as the aim points do. The aim points have like 60,000 hours of battery life, versus the EOTechs only have like 1,000 hours of battery life. So What I like about the EOTechs, though, is the EOTechs have that 1 MOA dot in the middle, and then they have a 65 MOA circle. So that giant circle you can use for CQB, and the little dot in the middle, which is 1 MOA, you can use that for long range, 200-300 yards. Aim points are good too. I really like the aim points as well, but I definitely recommend getting some kind of a magnifier if you're going to get a red dot, just so you can go a little further out. But that's just my opinion, that's just my opinion. But what's going on, Catskill Prepper? Good to see you. Good to see you guys. Good to see you here. It looks like the wind died down. I'm going to try to get in front of the camera here. The temperatures are supposed to drop here tonight to like the upper 40s. Catskill Prepper, good to see you. Good to see Just going through the comments right now, see what you guys are saying. Rip Curl says red dot is on the money at 0 at 50 yards, 1 1/4 inches low at 25. That's good to know, or that's good to hear. That's good to hear. I don't know. I guess some people like red dots. I personally think they're good, but I just think they're very limited. If you have a dedicated rifle that you plan to use for CQB, then throw a red dot on there. Otherwise, for like a general purpose rifle that you can use for pretty much multiple scenarios, I think a LPVO or a medium power optic is a much better option, because it gives you the ability to shoot longer range and have more precision, and even with like 1 or 2 power scopes, let's say you have an LPVO, let's say you have an LPVO and even 1 or 2 power scopes, you can still acquire your target very fast with a 1 to 2 power scope. Obviously a red dot may be a little bit faster, but we're not going to be doing any kind of Wild West duels here, where you have to be super duper fast. Rip Curl Readiness says I always run either a flip up co-witness fixed sight through the dot or a 45-degree offset iron sights. My rifles have the Burris system that is 1.5 to 4 power scope with a fast fire. That's a good setup. Right now on my AR-10, I just mounted a Sig Sauer 2 to 10 power scope. So at the low end it's a 2 power, and at the high end it's a 10 power. And I got some flip up iron sights with tritium on them. And I may put a offset 45-degree red dot on there, like a RMR or some kind of small, maybe a fast fire. I like the fast fires because they're made of steel. The RMR I think is plastic or aluminum. Steel is always better, but that's how I'm going to set it up right now. You can be super duper fast with a 1 or 2 power scope. At under 25 yards, you can be really fast. Good to see you here, Catskill Prepper. Hope you're doing well. Yeah, Rip Curl, maybe if I ever go to Oregon I was planning on going to Oregon sometime in the next 2 years on a little vacation. If I'm in the area, I'll let you know. Maybe we can meet up and hang out, and we can shoot a little bit or just hang out, Do I think anything will happen on 9/11? Yeah, I've talked about that before. I do believe something will happen on 9/11 for sure. I'm concerned about it. It's the 20-year anniversary of 9/11, and on top of that, the Taliban now has control of Afghanistan. So I think the chances of something happening are very high, in my opinion. So yeah, I say the chances are high. I mean, no one really knows what's going to happen, but I think the chances are very high that something could happen on 9/11. Absolutely. Just going to put some wood on the fire. So, what do you guys think of my new live stream format, the Fireside chat? What do you guys think? You think it's good, or I think I'm going to do this every once in a while. It's Labor Day weekend, so I thought it would be fun to do this, kind of more casual, more relaxed live stream in front of the fire. Good night, Lee Billy. It's good to see you here. Yeah, a lot of crickets. Fear God. How's it going, Fear God? I hope you're doing well. Yeah, there's a ton of crickets here because of the farm. I'm surrounded by a giant farm. There's hay fields and cornfields right over here, so crickets love that. Lots of grasshoppers too. Raven says that it's great. I'm glad you think it's great, Raven. I hope everything's going well over there in New York. Rick Silva says if something happens on 9/11, look at it as being internal. See you later, Watchmen. Take care. Yeah, so I want to just talk a little bit about my thoughts about Afghanistan. Raven says, Greg, report just came in, 39 dead from flooding. Wow. 39 dead from the flooding in Afghanistan. That's crazy. I'm sorry, in New York City. Wow, 39 dead. That's a lot of people. Is that just in New York City, or is that New Jersey and other areas? Diva Jefferson says, well, we aren't really headed in a great direction. Just look at the backlash in Texas for preserving life. Yeah, that's another thing, too, is, abortion is being legalized everywhere. You know, Joe Romanino says, I hope not, bro. Susan Adams says, I'm in communist upstate New York. I am not taking the jab. I am worried about the children. 39. Yeah, looks like someone said 39 people dead from the flooding in New York City. If you guys want to see footage of the flooding, I recommend you watch my last video that I uploaded, maybe after my live stream. You guys can check that video. It's crazy. Some of the flooding is just absolutely wild. I mean, just absolutely insane. It looks like a movie, like if you're watching one of those natural disaster movies, like 2012 or one of those other movies. It just looks crazy. um yeah, so I want to just share a little bit about my thoughts on Afghanistan. um so I personally, I'm a conspiracy theorist, as I'm sure a lot of you guys know. And I honestly believe that all of this that's happening in Afghanistan right now was planned out like 25 years ago. That's just my opinion. Um, Hostile MGTOW says America is mystery Babylon spoken of in the book of Revelation. Yeah, I think it's either America or New York City. It's one of those two. I personally think New York City is mystery Babylon. Because if you look at the description of the prostitute of Babylon, it's almost exactly identical to the Statue of Liberty. Um, but I honestly think that everything that's happening in Afghanistan now was planned out 25 years ago. Um, I think it started with 9/11, and 9/11 was the beginning of the whole project, if you will. So 9/11 brought us the Patriot Act, where they basically could spy on everything that we do and retain all of our text messages and phone calls forever in a data center in Utah. And that was the Patriot Act after 9/11, which basically created the domestic spying program where the government can spy on everybody without any search warrants. Our privacy basically evaporated after 9/11. So that was the beginning of it, okay? That was the beginning, was the Patriot Act, where all of our rights evaporated. You could be detained for no reason if you're accused of being a terrorist. You could be detained, and they could spy on everything and anything they want. And they also militarized the local police, so the local police now have military grade equipment in certain areas and armored vehicles and things like that. And then now we're in a situation where they pull out of Afghanistan right before the 20th anniversary of 9/11, which is a slap in the face, in my opinion, to all the veterans that risked their life and limb fighting over there, and to the families of the victims of 9/11. But also, I feel like this is like the final chapter. It started with the Patriot Act, and now it's culminating with the pullout of Afghanistan, where the Taliban is now going to be stronger than ever before. Now the Taliban is much stronger than they were 20 years ago. They have better equipment. They have allies now. They have, Russia, Iran, and China that are going to be backing them up and giving them weapons and using them as a proxy. North Korea, you know. So now it's going to be culminating with it's going to culminate with the Taliban regaining control of Afghanistan, getting weapons of mass destruction, and starting a war in the Middle East, possibly a nuclear attack on American soil or European soil or somewhere in the Middle East. All they need to do is get their hands on a small nuclear weapon. They can put it in a shipping container and detonate it when it gets to a port somewhere. I mean, there's just a lot of things they could do now. They could target the world's oil supply in Saudi Arabia, which Iran did 2 years ago and took off 50 took down 50% of the oil producing capabilities of the Saudis. So Susan Adams says Casanova. I know Casanova very well. I lived in Syracuse for 2 years, so I know Casanova. So I think that this could have all been planned like 25 years ago. Um, that's just my opinion, but I could be wrong. I don't know. Uh, but regardless, we got to prepare. Um, oh, another thing I wanted to share with you guys. Actually, I'm going to do a screen share. I'm going to share some of my screen here for you guys. Um, I'm going to do a weather update here. We got Hurricane Larry to check out, see what's going on with Hurricane Larry. All right, guys, I'm just going to share some of the latest information about Hurricane Larry. Let's see what's going on. Let's see what's going on with the hurricanes here. So we got Larry right now, Hurricane Larry. It has maximum sustained winds of 80 miles per hour. It has a minimum pressure of 985 millibars. Okay, we also have this disturbance here right next to Larry. It has right now a 30% chance of development. There's also a disturbance here over Guatemala. But Larry is looking pretty powerful right now. It's supposed to turn into a major hurricane Saturday or Sunday. Okay, and they're saying it's going to go northwest, possibly hit Bermuda. But we have to keep an eye on this storm here and see if it's going to hit the eastern United States. They're forecasting this thing to turn into a major hurricane, so that's not good at all. So they're saying this thing could strengthen into a Category 4, Category 5 hurricane in about 48 hours. They're saying it's going to explode and turn into a Cat 4 between 48 and 72 hours from now, 2 to 4 days from now. This thing's going to explode. So we just have to keep an eye on it. But I mean, Hurricane Ida has given us a lot of negative impacts. I'm going to try to see if I can share some videos for those of you guys that missed my video earlier. Fiddlesticks says, I used to live in Fort Drum and Alexandria Bay. So beautiful up there. Yeah, that's a very beautiful area. I've been up there many times. Um, I have some friends that live up there in Potsdam area. I have a friend from Potsdam, uh, guy I went to school with. I've been up there many times. It's a nice area for sure. Um, Rip Curl says, I would love to hit the range and show you around when you're in Oregon. I am in Medford. Yeah, I know where Medford is. I know my parents actually almost moved there when I was a kid. I know Medford's a beautiful area there, close to Crater Lake. It's a really nice area. Robert Larson says, I think it may go back even a bit further than 25 years. Yeah, it could be. Could be further. Hard to say. Yeah. Uh, Joe says, all you need is some marshmallows. I actually have them. I have s'mores. I'm going to make some s'mores. After the live stream, me and the fiance, we're going to make some s'mores. I got some organic marshmallows and graham crackers and chocolate, and that'll be fun. WD Glock and Roll says, start filling your sandbags now. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Joe, I wish you were here to hang out, man. You got to come and visit when you get a chance or something. I don't know. We got to figure something out. Uh, yeah, it's always good to have sandbags. Even if you have empty sandbags, you should stock up on sandbags. You know, you could always fill them with dirt from your backyard, and they'll stop bullets and protect you from nuclear radiation. Uh, WD Glock and Roll says, my son is in Medford. Yeah, Medford's a nice area. There's a lot of Bigfoot activity in Medford. There was some really, a lot of Bigfoot sightings around Medford and Grants Pass. There was a guy in Grants Pass. He was a doctor that saw a Bigfoot in one of the forests over there. This was going back like 15 or 20 years ago, and a lot of Squatch activity there. Uh, Not Your Puppet says, do you know what the bankers and wealthy want the average income to be at the end of the day? 33,000. Yep, that's right. Yeah, they want all the money. That's exactly right. OS Crate says, go look at the rise and fall of Chinese dynasties correlated to low temperatures and poor crop yields. Yeah, another thing too is we're heading into the grand solar minimum, so that's another thing. Um, Robert Larson says, I had gluten-free s'mores. My son is a celiac. I'm glad you were able to have some s'mores. Celiac disease is pretty serious. My friend's mom passed away from that. It's a very serious disease. Fiddlestick says, I don't understand how these universities and businesses can mandate the vax when they have stock in it. Isn't that a conflict of interest? Yep, exactly. 100% right. Or not organic, I'm sorry. Not organic marshmallows, but they're not organic. They don't have like those preservatives and stuff in them. I tried to get like a natural variety. I don't know if you can get them. My dad lives right near Grants Pass. It's a nice area, Grants Pass. The average income for America was about, let's say, 44,000. Yeah, so guys, there's a lot of stuff going on. A lot of stuff going on in this world. So, get prepared. Make sure you guys are continuing to prep. I'm continuing to prep as much as I can. I'm buying things whenever I can. You know, honing my skills, keeping my skills sharp. It's very important. So I expect the Middle East things to get really bad in the Middle East in the next few years, next few months, now that the Taliban has control. So, be ready for possible terrorist attacks. Um, Nuclear attack is always possible too. So, Catskill Prepper says I might not be heading to Maine with the hurricane on the move. Yeah, I think it's supposed to hit Maine tomorrow or tonight. I think it's over like Boston right now. So yeah, it might not be a good idea, but hard. I mean, it might be okay by like Saturday. Good night, Raven. Good to see you here. Um, does my new place have a wood stove? No, it does not, because I'm renting, and it doesn't have a wood stove in it. But honestly, I don't really care because I have propane. If power gets knocked out or something, I got propane heat I can use, so I'm not too worried about it. Plus, Pennsylvania is not as cold as New York, so I'm not super worried. But I had some good news to share with you guys. So I found out today there's some good news about my father. For those of you guys who haven't been following my channel much lately, my dad got diagnosed with cancer in his lungs. So he had an MRI done yesterday, and his MRI of his head turned out good. So he doesn't have any cancer in his brain. It's just localized in the lung. And also, the doctor said that he's not going to need to have chemotherapy because they did like a DNA test or something on the cancer, and they found out that the type of cancer that he has, they can treat it with tablets, and they don't need to do chemotherapy on him. So that's a really good thing. And, I just found that out today. So that's just really good news heading into Labor Day. That made my weekend much better. His MRI is clear, and he doesn't have to do chemo, that he just does tablets. So that's a really good sign. Thank you guys for praying for me and praying for my dad. Um, it's definitely that's definitely God working right there. That's prayers being answered. Prayers do work. So thank you guys for your prayers. So we still have a long battle ahead of him, but those are some good news right now. So and also the doctor said that the type of cancer that he has, there's a really good recovery rate for it. So it's looking really much better now than initially when the diagnosis came out. I was like completely depressed. I thought my dad was going to die, like right away or something. And it's looking better and better each day right now. So I'm feeling a lot better now. So it's just really good news. Robert Larson says, amen on your dad's results. Enjoy every day. My dad left us in September 2019. Cherish that thought. Sorry to hear that, Robert. Sorry to hear that you lost your dad. That's really sad. Um, Sorry to hear that, but yeah, I try to cherish every day and enjoy every day with my father as much as possible, even though he lives far away. Um, Now, Catskill Prepper says, "Wow, Greg, I'm so happy. Thank you, Catskill. I appreciate that very much." OS Crate says, "Bless your dad. Thank you. I appreciate that." Raven says, "That's wonderful. I'm glad to hear. God bless." Thank you, Raven. I appreciate that. Um, Crate says, "Mississippi River barge traffic is shut down due to Ida. Lots of grains moved down that river." Yeah, I heard something about that. Fiddlestick says, "I've been investing in heirloom seeds. Red clover and alfalfa seeds are great for protein, nutrients, and medicine." Dark Helmet says, "Don't forget the solar minimum means a CME is more likely now." I thought that was the opposite. Correct me if I'm wrong. I mean, I've been studying the solar minimum for probably 12 years now. I first started reading about the solar minimum in 2010. And my understanding of a solar minimum, my extensive studies of it, is that solar activity decreases during a solar minimum. So that means that CMEs are less likely to happen, and flares, solar flares are generally weaker in a solar minimum, but I could be wrong. See you later, not your puppet. Peace out. Crate says, "Hug your friends. The grid is up and there's food on the shelves for now." Yep, exactly. Enjoy your life, guys. I always like to tell people, you don't live to prep, you prep to live. Um, don't want SHTF to happen. It's gonna eventually happen. So enjoy the time that you have now before it happens. Uh, don't stress yourself out, and don't want it to happen, because when it does happen, you're gonna regret it. You're gonna say, "Man, I wish I enjoyed my life more before all this happened." Like, for example, me, like, I wish now, with everything happening with COVID, I wish like 2 or 3 years ago that I traveled more, that I went to Europe and other countries before all these lockdowns and mandates and everything. But enjoy your life as much as possible. um, Suspicious Observer's most recent video talks about the solar minimum. I don't know who Suspicious Observer is. I don't know who that is. But I can tell you that I've been studying the solar minimum since 2010, so 12 years I've been studying it. And I can tell you that during a solar minimum, the solar flares decrease because the sun has less activity. So there's actually a CME is less likely. Um, but we have to consider the fact that there could be a little ice age from a solar minimum. Last time there was a little ice age was in the 1400s to the 1600s. We had the Maunder minimum, which was a long solar minimum, and there was a little ice age where global temperatures plummeted, and there was frost fairs in London every single year on the River Thames, or Thames. I don't know how to say it, but it's the river that goes through London. They literally had fairs on the river because the river froze solid every single winter. So that's pretty crazy. It was cold enough that the river in London would freeze every single year, and they would have fairs on it, and that was from the Maunder minimum. And I mean, that's just absolutely insane. So, I mean, I don't know if that's going to happen now, but there could possibly be a plunge in global temperatures. Crate says, I like your research. Thank you. Thanking you by sending a prayer your way. Thank you for sending a prayer, Crates. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. Susan Adams says, goodbye all. Good night. God wins. Good night, Susan. Joe says, that's great news. Thank you, Joe. I appreciate that. And I appreciate all your support, Joe. Thank you. I really appreciate it. So I think I'm going to wind down the live stream, guys. I'm gonna wind down the live stream. I hope you guys have a great Labor Day. And I'll do another live stream next week. I might do another fireside chat. We'll see. This is the first time I'm doing it. It seemed to work pretty well. So, you guys are a part of my channel history because this is the first fireside chat that I've done on my channel. So, all you guys that were in here tonight were a part of the NYPrepper channel history here, history of my channel. What's up, operator 357? You need a pipe and a smoking jacket. That's funny. I don't smoke, but yeah, that would be cool. Crate says you rock. Keep it up. Thank you so much, Crates. I appreciate that, and I appreciate your prayers. So that's pretty much it, guys. I'm gonna wind down the stream now. Just continue to prep, and the world is going downhill fast, so we got to really pay attention to Afghanistan, the Middle East. Obviously, the vax spreading like crazy could be the mark of the beast. Possibly, I don't know if it's the mark of the beast or not, but it seems like it could be. So just continue prepping, guys, and I hope you enjoy your Labor Day weekend. Try to spend time with your family and friends, because that's really the most important thing. And just remember, you prep to live, you don't live to prep. So enjoy your life before SHTF happens, because once SHTF happens, you're not going to be able to enjoy your life anymore, and you're going to regret not doing certain things while you had the opportunity. So don't put yourself in that situation where you regret that you didn't do certain things that you could have because you were anticipating SHTF so much. Live your life, enjoy your life, but be prepared for the worst case scenario. So that's pretty much it, guys. I'm going to wind down the stream. Thanks for all my moderators, Catskill Prepper, Joe Romanino, Rip Curl Readiness. I'm not sure if he's still in here, but all the moderators tonight, thank you guys for stopping by. And that's all I got for now. Thank you for all your prayers and support. I appreciate it. And have a great weekend. Take care. God bless. And don't forget the 3 Ps. prepare, practice.